Alex, and polls show many Americans are unhappy with how the Biden administration is handling the economy, but then came last week.
If Biden wins, you're going to have a stock market collapse, the likes of which you've never had.
Another record day on Wall Street.
The stock market higher than it's ever been.
The stock market, it's hitting new records.
Beating the record it set just yesterday.
Let's just talk for a moment about the stock market.
Okay.
Boom.
Well, the market is defined. All the experts.
All right, so let's talk about the messaging situation in Biden world. My guest, Democratic strategist Keith Edwards, up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so messaging has always been a big thing. We've always talked about how administrations sell their achievements. I think it was pretty easy for the Trump administration to do that to its supporters, but it seems as though right now the people who supported President Biden seem to have issues with this, that, or the other.
I mean, this is an administration that is operating, in my opinion, at all cylinders. They're firing 100%, but we are suffering from an information warfare that is, I think, asymmetrical. We have one side that can lie, make up stories, say whatever it is they want, and 30% of their base is going to believe it and buy it in. And we are a party that has to stay in facts, tell the truth, and also fight democracy while we're doing it. So I think it's, we are kind of like not at an advantage in that sense, but like that video showed, there is a real, Biden has done a really great job at creating results for the American people, regardless of whether or not that they are aware of it. And I think part of the problem is that we have an American public that really enjoys sensationalism. And so they're not really worried about the fact that insulin is now capped at $35, that this president has created 14 million jobs, that the pandemic, since the pandemic, inflation has gone down 65%.
And there are the stats out there that back all of that up for sure. You worked in the digital, a lot of the digital space through different campaigns, and that's another thing. These are issues that the White House has put out there. They're trying to reach, I think, a younger demographic, which clearly that's who's consuming a lot of this stuff out there. But you're also seeing a lot of these younger voters looking at things like they're not happy with how the White House has handled what's happening right now in the Middle East or other issues. Maybe they believe that he's not as progressive as they thought he would, in spite of the fact there has been student loan cancellation, which is something that they've advocated for in the past. So what's the key message? How do you zero in on trying to change some of those minds that are going to be crucial come 2024?
Well, first off, I think let people be upset. It's okay to be upset. I mean, no president is perfect, okay? That, for one, for sure. You can be upset at President Biden, but I think it's misplaced anger. For one, President Biden cannot control what's happening in the Middle East. And if we had a Republican president, Gaza would not have anyone on its side at all. I think President Biden has actually done a pretty good job managing something that is almost unmanageable, okay? So there's that. But also, I think that, we are 11 months away from an election, which is truly 5 lifetimes in political terms. It's a long time. And so I don't know what the thing is going to be next November, but it's not going to be what we're talking about right now. I mean, we just had that ruling come out from Colorado that says that Trump cannot be on the ballot. And so, so more to be seen around all of that. And so, yes, I think we do need to speak to people about the things that they're upset about. And I just don't think, but I do think, to your point, we can't ignore it. And I think the administration has been doing a good job at reaching out to younger voters and listening. And I think that's going to be part of the strategy.
On the other side, you also have worked in the past. Nikki Fried ran for Virginia governor. She did not make it past the primary against Ron DeSantis. I'm just curious from your perspective, as you see what's happening with the DeSantis campaign right now, where clearly a year ago, you mentioned 5 lifetimes. This time last year, we were talking about the frontrunner in the GOP race being Ron DeSantis. So as you see that playing out, I think that's a perfect illustration of how priorities change, how topics change, and how voters change over the span of 11 or 12 months.
Yeah, and the Republicans are going through a primary. It might not feel like it because Donald Trump is clearing away the favorite right now, but they're going through a primary. So their voters are really keyed in a way where our voters are just not active at the moment. We haven't really they haven't really had to be as engaged as their voters are. So I think also polling reflects that as well too.
Why do you think in that case, because we had RFK Jr. had a surge for a little while, he was spiking. We really haven't talked much about that. In Florida, they've decided not to go through with the primary process there, which is something that was done in 2020 as well for many of the GOP states. That's not unheard of.
No, it's not.
Yeah. All right, Keith Edwards, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks.
Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.